This is Patrick Henry, the CEO of QuestFusion with the Real Deal What Matters. We're here today with Olin Hyde, who is the founder and CEO at LeadCrunch. Olin is he's a serial entrepreneur who wrote his first line of code at the age of 12, which is a number of years ago, on his home-built computer. Previous startups include the National Facilities Group, acquired by Accruent, and Auto Semantics, acquired by AI1.
That's right.
Olin founded LeadCrunch in 2013 under a different company name. LeadCrunch is an artificial intelligence engine that finds high-precision B2B sales leads for small and medium business. Unlike other lead generation systems, LeadCrunch predicts who will buy from whom. It enables companies to dramatically increase lead conversion rates to accelerate sales. Olin holds a Master of Science in Engineering from UCSD here in San Diego, and a Bachelor's of Philosophy in Interdisciplinary Studies from Miami University. So he's got the kind of yin and yang going on there. Olin lives here in San Diego with his wife, niece, and 2 golden doodles. I actually have labradoodles. I'm allergic to many pets, so we got Australian labradoodles to
cool.
Deal with my allergies. He enjoys outdoor sports, performing arts, and holding business meetings on bicycle rides. Welcome, Olin.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about when you started LeadCrunch and what was the focus of the company at establishment. And we talked a little bit before the show about how you've gone through a couple pivots. So why don't you take us through the story there?
Well, I've got the personality disorder, right? I think people that go out and start businesses usually could find really good jobs doing something that's far more steady and less risky, working for other people, but that's not me.
Yeah.
I just love solving hard problems.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing now is really interesting, and what makes it the best part of my day is talking to customers that are absolutely thrilled with what they're getting from us.
That's awesome.
It's really cool to get on a customer call and have a customer cheer our success. And that's really because our technology enables small and medium-sized businesses to beat the incumbent, to go after the enterprise company. And we give them state-of-the-art technologies that enable them to call the people that they should be calling to grow their business. And that is identifying people that are just like their best customers. Okay. That's where you have the easiest way of repeating success.
Sure.
But that's not what we started doing.
Okay.
This is the end stage of a long journey that started back in August of 2013.
Okay.
3 of us started this company. It was called Glue at the time, and we had seen how awful IBM Watson was. Mm-hmm. So we decided we're going to invent a better version of Watson. We're going to actually go out and develop something for medical research and train the supercomputer at UCSD actually to pass the U.S. medical licensing exam.
Okay.
So imagine a computer becoming a licensed MD. And we started down that path.
Yeah.
There's a lot of doubt that we could do it. We built a very early prototype, and within 12 seconds, it was able to find a link between type 1 diabetes and the herpes virus.
Interesting.
And that got published. And it got about $11 million of funding. We didn't get the funding. The researchers that were doing the work, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Darius Schneider, who's a physician scientist. At the time, he was a Fulbright fellow at the La Jolla Institute. Okay. And so it was really his genius of like coming up with a hypothesis, putting it into the machine, and out came confirmation that there might be a link there. Okay. And it did that by reading more than 10 million open source medical research articles. Okay. And so from that point we thought, well, maybe there's money in medical research. There's not. Okay. There's a reason why medicine took 1,000 years to adopt germ theory. Okay. A reason why it took medicine 100 years to adopt the use of the microscope. It is not an industry that is eager to change. Yeah. And so we found ourselves with a tool that was solving a problem that had absolutely no economic value. Okay. So we pivoted, and one of my mentors is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Marvin Langston, who is the former director of DARPA's AI programs. And so Marv came to us and said, you should go after this deal with Lockheed. And so we had an opportunity to compete with two very big names, Palantir Technologies and IBM. And we actually won a contract to supply a research and development group inside of Lockheed with our core technology. And by this time we'd built it to the point of giving it a name and getting it trademarked and looking at the patents to protect it and so forth. We call it Deep Find. And the idea is if I show you an example of this, you can find whatever is similar to this across lots of other information. So this could be a medical hypothesis that you want to find in other literature. This could be a known target. The targets in the military look like this. What else is a target? And so this is a very basic decision thing of finding similarities in very complex data. And we won the Lockheed contract, a great customer. We learned a lot, but we also learned that we didn't really want to become a defense contractor. We wanted to really go into a very highly scalable business. And so we were in the unfortunate position of having a really cool solution that we didn't know what it was solving. And as we were talking earlier before, that's a bad position for an entrepreneur to be in, right? You want to solve the problem, not come up with cool technology. So we actually thought of 6 different ways we could use our technology. And one of them was, if we're finding targets for the military, can we find customers for businesses? And we took it to 5 companies. And we thought, if one of them buys, we might have something here. Well, 7 bought because one of our early customers was a lender that did capital equipment leasing, and they only care about one thing, and that's getting paid back. So they took it to their borrowers, and the borrowers loved it, and boom, we had a product. We knew that we had something that would work. We had to build it. We announced it, and in the 8 months or so since it's been announced, more than 1,800 companies have signed up for a trial. We released the sellable version of it, the one that we started monetizing in January. And it has just been a wild rocket ship since then. It's been great.
Awesome.
So we tripled sales in one of the early months. It's easy to triple a small number. But we're growing right now at about 100% per month, and we expect to be able to keep that up at least for another 3 or 4 months.
Cool. That's awesome. So obviously the business model's changed over time, and you're a serial entrepreneur. So kind of, was it frustrating? Did you have board members, or was it So kind of take us through that process and how you dealt with kind of the challenges of navigating through a couple different pivots over a couple year period of time.
So pivots are really scary, right? Because that's when teams fall apart. I'll forever remember the date of December 4th, 2013. When I thought we were going to be shutting the business down after only 5 months. And we had that meeting around my dining room table and said, guys, this isn't working. We're going to have to change direction. And it almost puts a tear in my eye. Everyone doubled down and worked doubly hard around that pivot.
That's great.
And so pivots are not something I think to be particularly proud about. I think that the key lesson I learned was we were dead wrong on where we thought we were going to make money early on. And after we went and did the project with Lockheed, I called my attorney, who's been a phenomenal resource, and said, look, I really need to bring in an outside board of director, somebody that's turned math into money more than I have. And we were very fortunate to be able to recruit a gentleman by the name of Krishna Gopinathan, who is the founder of Global Analytics. He's the founder of Applied Data Finance. His name's on the patent for the Falcon algorithm, which a local company, HNC, sold. HNC was bought by FICO for $800 million. And most of that value is around the FICO algorithm, which protects more than 2 billion credit cards from fraud. So Krishna came in as a board of director. My business partner is the best business partner I've ever had. His name's Sanjeet Singh. And Sanjeet is the sales guy. His claim to fame is he's built a company from 0 to 30 million in sales in 2 years in the shipping industry. He knows how to sell to small and medium-sized businesses. A lot of our pivot was really driven by Sanjeet calling me at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night saying, we got to do something different. I'm like, Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
And so the bringing in an outside board of director was absolutely critical to our success. I think we really spent a lot of time thinking about culture and how do we develop a culture which really encourages people in three key dimensions: to be the best in the world at what they do, to have a sense of purpose that what they're doing is really important, and it's something that they could only do as part of this team, and finally giving people the autonomy to be able to do the job in a way that they see as best. And our team is now 8 full-time.
Okay.
And we have 4 part-time in addition to that. And we are actually have 3 open positions at the moment. We will probably double in size between now and the end of the year.
Okay, terrific. So for kind of the layman out there, give us kind of the layman's tutorial about what machine learning is and artificial intelligence. I'm sure many of us have seen The Matrix.
Right,
we
right.
don't want to be scared by AI, but tell us a little bit about it and kind of your application of that.
Well, when artificial intelligence works,
Yeah.
we have a name for it: software.
Yeah.
So it's not a black art. It's really
Yeah.
quite simple.
Yeah.
The idea of machine learning is that the machine recognizes patterns,
Okay.
and it does pattern recognition without overt human intervention.
Okay.
So there's a very, machine learning is a very long and broad field that's been around since the 1950s.
So most of the stuff around like big data is really machine learning,
Yes.
and it's defining algorithms that get progressively more efficient over time the more they do a particular task. Is that a
Right.
good way to put it?
Absolutely true.
Okay.
And you can kind of think of it in like 2 different buckets. There's the machine learning that's entirely autonomic, that's hands-free.
Yeah.
Neural nets or deep learning would be an example of that, where it learns by examples only.
Okay.
And then there's supervised learning, where you actually give it feedback to say, yeah, your guess was right, or no, your guess was wrong.
Okay.
And Pandora would be an example of that. Pandora serves you up a song that it thinks you will like.
Okay.
And then you confirm or deny that, and by giving it confirmation, it helps it learn a little faster.
Refines a little bit better.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Interesting. So with LeadCrunch, are you in that latter category where there's interaction between the salesperson or whoever it is, the sales organization, and the product?
We actually do both.
Okay.
And so we believe that salespeople are the most valuable people in an organization. And so we really look at machine intelligence as a way of augmenting human capability.
Okay.
So what we see our technology is doing is giving a secret weapon to salespeople to really outperform their competitors. And so the machine will never be able to make a sale.
Yeah.
That's a human to human thing, and we want to preserve and augment that.
Yeah.
What our technology really does is tell the salesperson who is the best person to call
Yeah.
and why.
Yeah.
Right? And so that way the salesperson doesn't waste their time on customers that will never buy or bad customers. We really want to help them find a way to shorten the sales cycle. And that's actually helpful to everyone. It's helpful to the customer as well, because you're always welcome the sales call when it's solving a problem that you have that's
Right.
top of mind. And we identify that, and then we give that to the salespeople to go out and call.
Yeah, for sure. So, how do you make money? Is this like a software as a service or a subscription model, or what exactly do you guys do?
So we do software as a service.
Okay.
It's a subscription. You buy buckets of leads.
Okay.
Right now, our entry point is you buy a $300 bucket, and that gives you 200 leads.
Okay.
That's what we're doing today. That's our initial pricing. We know we're grossly underpriced. We increased our price 20% and sales went up. So we're pretty close to ending this type of pricing and really go more to industry specific and the value of the lead type of pricing. And that's something that we're starting that pricing experimentation right now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit of research, not a ton, but looked at your website, looked at your pricing, and the cost per lead seemed extraordinarily low.
Yeah.
Now, the question is it a qualified lead, non-qualified lead? There's I did this experiment on one of the freelance sites called Thumbtack. So you have
Sure.
Thumbtack,
Yeah.
Guru, Upwork. But the economic cost of a Thumbtack lead is about $15-16 per lead.
Right.
And I don't even know if those are really qualified leads. So when you say you can do leads more efficiently and the quality of leads are better, what's the metric that you use? Is it like a sales is generated by that lead and you can therefore charge that way, or it's just I'm going to give you leads and it's up to you to figure out if they're good or not, and then you're kind of dialing that in, because pricing obviously in this business is all over the map,
right?
And how do you say, okay, with confidence, we're going to deliver you higher quality leads, and the metric that we use, the as measured by for that is conversion rate or profit per lead or revenue per lead, or how do you guys think about that?
Right. Well, let me set context first.
Okay.
Because I think it's a really big question.
Yeah.
And the question is really, what is the value of a lead and how do we determine the price for that lead?
Yes.
Right. That's really at the end of the day. The essence of it. Well, what we do is we look at the market and we say, okay, no one out. We're the only solution that is literally a self-service vending solution for predictive leads.
Yes.
We're the only one.
Yeah.
So how do we price it when we're a completely new category, when we're trying to create that category? And what we initially did is said, who's the big incumbent? Well, that's Dun & Bradstreet, Info Group, those type of companies. And they're
for the lending industry.
For everybody.
For everybody,
so,
okay.
So Dun & Bradstreet's the largest purveyor of leads in the world.
Okay.
Certainly in the United States. And they're a $1.6 billion company.
Okay.
And they do a bunch of stuff other than lead gen. They also do credit reports and other things.
Okay.
But we look at them and say, wow, okay, if they are the incumbent, what does it take to completely displace them?
Okay.
To actually go after them in a very meaningful way.
Okay.
And we look at their data and we found that it had a very high error rate. There was a lot of missing information. It wasn't accurate. And it was very, very expensive for companies to get inaccurate data at the top of their sales funnel. Mm-hmm. So if you think of a sales funnel where you get the leads at the top,
right.
You qualify them, and then you make a sale at the bottom.
Yep.
So a little bit of improvement at the top of the sales funnel can translate to huge gains at the bottom.
Yeah.
1 or 2% here might be 20, 30% down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we said is, okay, well, let's do an initial pricing to see how much of the market and what our conversion rates will be just for going after what we call commodity leads.
Yeah.
And that we concluded we're crushing it. Our conversion rate, just to tell you how much we're crushing it, 22% of companies that do our free trial buy a subscription within 30 days.
Okay.
And we've not been in market. We're still getting additional conversions later. We've only been in market really for 5 months.
Yeah.
So from our perspective, the hypothesis we're testing is, can we effectively compete against Dun & Bradstreet? The early indications, yes.
Okay.
The bigger question is, how valuable are our leads relative to other things? So we know that inbound leads are always the best, mm-hmm. right? And they always will be, because they're people that are actively seeking. They come to you and they're marketing qualified right away.
And that's kind of the thumbtack model. I'm specifically looking for this. I'm matching you up. Therefore, at least you have a chance. But they're charging by the lead. They're not charging by the conversion.
Right.
So now, do you guys actually get lead conversion data, or you're just measuring by how many people buy the subscription service and then convert to the paid service?
Well, so converting a lead is much more than just me giving you the name.
Yes.
Right? There's actually, back to my original statement, we have a lot of respect for salespeople and what they do. So we don't want to be measured on whether the salesperson's good or not.
Okay.
Right? We get measured on whether the salesperson tells us it's a good lead or a bad lead.
Okay.
So when you get a free trial from us,
yes,
the first thing you do is you give us an example of your best customers.
Okay.
You give us 25, 50 names of your best customers.
Yeah.
We find lookalikes and we give them back to you. And then you score them individually. Yeah, this one was good. No, this one was bad.
Okay.
The system gets smarter.
Yeah.
Next delivery is even more accurate. That's what we measure, is how many upvotes we get.
Okay.
We love to have customers come to us and say, we were getting 7% conversion on these old leads that we're getting from an old vendor. We get 30% conversion from you. We love those stories.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're looking for now, is more stories like that.
Sure.
So we had a really fun experience the other day. I got taken out to breakfast by a customer, and he said, "You know what? I want to quit my job and come work for you." I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So So he's actually making an offer, and I think we'll announce that next week. But he had crazy success with us.
Yeah.
He shortened his sales cycle by 40%, discovered entirely new markets, and had a 300% improvement in his lead conversion rate.
That's awesome.
So that's the type of story we like to hear.
Yeah.
It's stunning how few companies measure the success of their sales efforts.
Yeah.
One of the most expensive things a company does is hire a sales team.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies don't have any automation because they can't afford it or it's too complex. They're old school dialing for dollar type shops that don't measure or control the process.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we really designed our system around is we wanted to be agnostic to any technology. All you need is an internet connection, a credit card, and a list of your best customers. That's it.
Okay.
And with that as a design consideration, we built a system that can work with pretty much any marketing technology stack.
Okay.
From non-existent to the most sophisticated. And we actually have, customers on both ends of that spectrum.
Sure.
We have very sophisticated customers and ones that just, literally have our system and a telephone.
Okay. So your target audience, I mean, this is anybody that a potential client is anybody that obviously does sales, but are there specific verticals that you're focused on? Because that's, it's hard to boil the ocean, as I say. If you have too big of a market that you're going after initially, if you can go and maybe dominate a couple niches first, and they're big enough niches you can still grow fast.
Right.
Are you doing that? Kind of what's your kind of go-to-market approach?
Well, our go-to-market is listen to our customers.
Yeah.
Right. And so we spend a lot of time talking to our customers. And of these 1,800 that have signed up, we look at them all.
Yeah.
And we try to talk to as many as possible.
Yeah.
Our customers are primarily marketing companies that are using our technology to generate leads for their customers.
I see. Okay.
So that's the first big vertical. Second big vertical is IT and internet technology companies. Software as a service companies are selling across a lot of different verticals love us.
Sure.
And financial services companies love us.
Okay.
And our early success was all around fintech. We thought that was a really good market for us to go after.
Yeah.
Because it's, money's money.
Yeah.
The big differentiator is how much does it cost.
Yeah.
And if we can tell a lender who's going to make a loan before they actually have their credit report run, and they can get that relationship early, that's gold. And so that's really gave us the idea of that a lot of companies have that problem of how do you get in front of the customers that are not raising their hand, that are not searching for your solution. They're going to need your service, but it's not top of mind until you bring it up to them. So you can be there very early in the sales process and use that contact information for account-based marketing, content marketing. There's nothing wrong with using all of the other marketing technologies that are out there. In fact, we encourage you to do it. And as I said earlier, inbound leads are always going to be the best because they're actually looking for you.
Yeah.
Our technology fills that gap in for people that are not looking for you, or where you can't compete with other people that are better at inbound marketing. That's where we really come in.
Terrific. So do you have data that shows the quality of your leads are superior to other methods?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so what is that, just the conversions to paid services, or what are the other metrics you're looking at to say, okay, just raw customer feedback, so anecdotal feedback, or kind of what are you looking at there?
Well, the best single measurement is negative churn. And what that means, if people don't know what churn is how many companies or what your revenue drop off is from any given account in a month, right?
Sure.
So churn, if it's positive, is a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
That means you're losing customers.
Right.
Negative churn means it's a good thing because the value is going up. So our average subscription price went from 177 to 588 in just 3 months.
Okay.
So people are spending more money on our leads because they're working.
Okay.
Right. So we have good case studies from some of our early customers. I just mentioned the guy that joined our company. I went on the angel list last week, and out of the blue, somebody gave us an endorsement on. And I had never talked to this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's great. And so the other good indicator is that we provide a referral code. So our conversion, we have a lot of people that are referring us to their other friends and other people they do business with.
Yeah.
So that is called a viral coefficient, and ours is a very healthy number for an early stage company.
Terrific. That's awesome. So how big is the market for this kind of stuff?
It's really big. So if you're creating a category, I think it's important to be able to look at it from a bottom up.
Yeah.
What if everybody bought your product?
Yeah.
You know, what does that world look like? Or on the top down is theoretically, you know, what should this market look like?
Yeah.
And so let's do it from the bottom up first. There's about 9 million businesses in America, and it depends upon what database you look at. Some people say as many as 30 million. We think there's about 9 million significant businesses in America that have sales below 1 billion. Okay, so take off the enterprise and say, okay, the enterprise, we have competitors in the enterprise, that's what they do.
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah.
We focus principally on the mid-market and small business.
Okay.
Which is a fairly open market for us. Let's say 30% of those companies do B2B sales.
Okay.
That's about what the economy is, right? So that leaves us, just to make the math simple, about 3 million companies. We believe that our product will really be costing around $1,000 a month for most customers.
Yeah.
Right? As we mature, our prices have gone up from $177 to $588. We believe they'll easily double again. But be conservative, let's say $1,000. That's a $36 billion a year market.
Wow.
It's big.
That's huge.
We have other people that Ruth Stevens is a very well-known sales consultant who actually has written some books. Brilliant woman. She was actually on one of our podcasts or our webinars actually. Mm-hmm. She estimates lead gen is something like a $700 billion a year problem.
Wow.
I think the way to look at that is also you can look at it, you know, let's say how big is the economy? Let's say the commercial sector of the economy somewhere around 15 billion or 15 trillion. Say a third of that is B2B, so that's something like 5 trillion. How much do you spend in sales and marketing? You know, what's the impact of lead generation on that spend?
Yeah.
You know, if it's 10%, now you're at a $500 billion market. That's probably where she's coming at it from her angle.
Sure.
I think what's clear is if predictive lead generation delivers on the promises that we're making, it fundamentally changes the marketing technology space. Marketing technology spend right now, and that includes CRM, marketing automation, all of these technologies you may know, like Salesforce, HubSpot, so forth. The total spending in that sector is around $30 billion.
Okay.
25 to 30, depending upon who numbers you're looking at. And it has been growing at about 18% per year. If our technology works, it eliminates the need for a lot of that stuff. Because do you really need to score your leads if you're getting great ones at the top? You know, the whole point of scoring leads is that you're scoring stuff in your sales funnel because you don't know where to focus your energy. If you start with really high quality at the top, the need for that goes away.
Now, as you get more customers, does the quality of the leads continue to increase?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the barriers? Let's say somebody else has a machine learning algorithm. You know, what's the barriers to entry for them getting into this space and competing with you? Like, what's the sustainable competitive advantage? Clearly, you have an advantage today. You're a first mover. That's going to help you because you're going to have more learning earlier than other people getting in. But there are other things that your algorithm's better, or kind of what are your thoughts there?
You know, as an engineer, it pains me to say this, but the truth is math is available to everyone.
Sure.
Right? And a better algorithm does not create a better business.
Okay.
Right? A better business is having a really happy set of delighted customers that is repeatable and growing.
Yeah.
And that gets back to what's the team like? Do we have a really strong team? It gets back to, is our data better than anyone else's data?
Yeah.
We spend a phenomenal amount of time engineering data sources.
Okay.
We have created what we believe is a data attractor. And this is the secret sauce, is really how do we get our data? With better data, we make better predictions.
Okay. So this kind of gets back to the old days. I mean, I hate to say this, but I was in sales in like the mid 80s, you know, working for a big industrial company, and you're looking up SIC codes, you know, to try to find, you know, these customers kind of look alike. So this is you're basically doing the research element of it.
That's exactly
what are the other things besides SIC codes that make these customers similar, And that's the way that you kind of put the stuff into the system.
Absolutely. You brought up an absolutely brilliant point. What is machine learning? You asked that earlier.
Yeah.
Well, a machine is just doing exactly what a human would do at machine speed and scale.
Correct.
So when you're a salesperson, you look down and you say, okay, what are the features that make a good customer?
Yeah.
Well, my good customers come from this industry. They're this size of a company.
Yeah.
They have this many job posting openings,
yeah.
whatever they are. There's this concept in cognitive science called bounded rationality,
yeah.
where the human brain can only handle about 7 variables in memory at any given time.
Okay.
You can't handle 20, and you can certainly handle more than 1 or 2.
Yeah.
The number 7 plus or minus 2 is what the early research started to show. What our technology is doing is not looking at 7 features, it's looking at hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
And it is determining which features are most important. And it's doing it by comparing against all other features it finds from other companies that you're selling to.
Okay.
So it's constantly learning and testing and getting
so
smarter.
Even though you're getting only a thumbs up or thumbs down, good lead, bad lead, that's enough in that volume of leads that you're getting a lot of learning associated with that in terms of all those different factors that are going on.
Right, and why our technology is so sticky is we're better on day 1. We're amazing on day 100.
Yeah.
So it gets smarter as you go.
So this is like A/B testing across hundreds of different variables and then continuing to refine it.
Correct.
That's
exactly.
very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that's when you said competitive advantage, the real competitive advantage is the data that comes out of that.
Yeah.
Right? We're learning at a speed and scale that gives us that first mover advantage. Anybody else that comes along has to learn the same things we've learned.
Sure.
Now they might learn them faster. That's the paranoia in me.
Sure,
right?
of course.
There's smart people all over the world working on this. We just happen to be the first, so our advantage right now is move fast.
Yeah. Now, you're out in the process of raising money.
Mm-hmm.
Is this really to kind of put the pedal to the metal a little bit more and grow things from a let's reach more customers side of it? The marketing, the sales element of it, or is it more we need more development, technology? Kind of take me through that. Kind of where are you at as a company?
That's a great thing, and usually a company only needs to do one thing really well to succeed. Trying to do more than one thing really well is oftentimes a recipe for disaster. The reality is that most companies, to do well, you got to do a couple things, right?
Yeah.
You can't just do all one and bet the farm on that.
Yeah.
Our use of funds, about 40% of it is in sales and marketing. That's the overwhelming majority. About 30% of it is in around the data engineering.
Okay.
And data engineering to us is a little different than other types of engineering. So that's the machine learning, collecting better data sources.
Right.
We do have some engineering that we want to do. We're expanding our distribution channels. We're augmenting the product, and that represents about 20% of our spend, and the rest of it's a small portion of it goes to administration.
Okay, terrific. So do you have a clear path to profitability?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were actually profitable our first full year in business.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a moment of pride for me. I'm like, let's run a profitable business. Oh, let's pivot away from that and go into something that's not profitable. We had that moment. But yeah, we are close to profitable now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So from an intellectual property standpoint, is it mainly kind of the trade secret of how you collect your data, or are there patents around this, or kind of how do you protect your intellectual property?
So we have a clear path to at least 6 utility patents that we've identified. I'm not a big fan of patents. I think that the state of machine intelligence is evolving at such an exponential scale that the algorithms that work today are not likely to survive more than 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
So one of the key things we've done is we've done what we call an ensemble approach. There's no one algorithm.
Okay.
There's algorithms that compete with each other. There's technology, there's different technologies trying to solve the same thing, then they vote on who's more accurate. The machine literally takes its own vote internally. So I think that patents are things that San Diego tends to get really excited about because we are a patent wall city with Qualcomm boasting about patents, War, which is a very closed system, does not talk much about what they do because it's in national security. Whereas the Bay Area is a very open, it's not about the algorithm, it's about the business model, it's about solving a customer problem. And I think that we tend to be more Bay Area-like. For instance, we've open sourced some of our stuff on GitHub, and we're really proud of that. We've got some activity on GitHub. We are never going to expose the actual tunings and algorithms, and we do a lot to protect our intellectual property, as a trade secret.
Sure.
But it is evolving so fast, I'm not sure that spending $50,000 on a patent that there may be a better model out 2 years from now really is going to make a lot of sense. You can't patent data, right?
Yeah.
Or you can't patent math.
Yeah.
What you can patent is processes and methods and so forth. And
Right.
I think that we are evolving so quickly right now that that's not as big a concern.
Okay, interesting. So, what's the exit strategy for a company like LeadCrunch? Is this something you want to take IPO and grow to a huge company, or is there various different options, or how do you think about that? Or you're not even thinking about that
Well,
yet?
I think a really good way to run a business is to run it as if you have to run it forever.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So the first thing is let's have a profitable business where it's really an amazing place for people to work and attract the best talent possible.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to the team. And good teams work in profitable environments that are really fun and with high productivity.
Yeah.
Of course, I go to bed and dream every night of doing an IPO because that's the only outcome I can control.
Yeah.
Right? But the reality is less than 1% of startups are ever going to get to an IPO.
Yeah.
Most exits happen early. Most exits are what we call trade sales, where one company buys another.
Yeah.
In our space, they're buying them up left and right. We just had a competitor taken out last week in an acquisition. We had an acquisition offer very early. And we said, nah, it's too early.
Yeah.
We're playing for a bigger ball game.
Yeah.
But how big a ball game? That's something that is really a matter of economics.
Yeah, interesting. So, obviously you're one of the more seasoned entrepreneurs out there. I have a lot of battle scars. For our audience of entrepreneurs out there, there are kind of any key insights, not only from the current LeadCrunch experience, but what are the kind of 1, 2, 3 things that you think are the most valuable things for the entrepreneurs out there based on your experience?
And that's a great question, and the reason I pause is there's a lot of things,
Sure.
right? I think one of the most important things, and it's kind of a buzzword right now, is grit.
Yeah.
I just finished reading Angela Duckworth's book, Grit, and that's the idea of perseverance really overcomes everything.
Yeah.
And the reality is that there's far easier ways to make a living than be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There's very few ways that are as rewarding.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is one of the most rewarding, fun things you can do.
Yeah.
And I think that if there's one thing anyone wants to learn to be a successful startup, is how to cultivate the right kind of grit.
Yeah.
To know when to persevere and when to pivot. Those are very important things, and there's a lot of wisdom involved in there. I think that my success is really as a result of the team. It's not about the CEO. It's not about the founder. It's about getting the ball rolling and how that snowball gathers mass on its own, right? And that's really about getting those key early partners in the company. And I call them partners. The culture that we spend a lot of time on culture. A local entrepreneur that gave me some great advice is a guy by the name of Aaron Fulkerson, CEO of MindTouch, who spent a lot of time on culture. And we took some of his and took some of our own, and really every time you get a group of people that have their own unique experiences, I think that if the most successful startups are the ones that really have a strong sense of identity and culture and are doing something that is truly purposeful, that really they believe in what they're doing. Otherwise, why would you put that much energy into it? Yeah. Right?
For sure.
As a person, I don't think that money is a particularly good motivator. I think ownership's a great motivator. I think that owning a piece of your future is really, really key.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think one of the key things about especially small companies is that I said, what's the definition of a small company versus a big company? In a small company, you've got one person doing 6 jobs, and a big company, you have 6 people doing 1 job. So, but the other part of it is your ability to influence moving the needle at a corporate level in a smaller organization is there. Sometimes you're in these big organizations and you don't have that. So that's that. It's not only having the equity piece of it, but it's also, hey, my work is meaningful. I'm actually moving the needle. I'm actually moving the ball forward. I can see how what I'm doing here is impacting the company. So it's a very cool aspect of being in startups.
I'd like to disagree with you on that point.
Okay.
Though. I think there's a much more profound difference between an established company and a startup.
Okay.
The startup is seeking a repeatable, scalable business model.
Yeah.
It doesn't know it is an experiment. It is science. You don't know whether it's going to work. You have a hypothesis and a bunch of assumptions, and you're throwing money and time at it to see if it works out. In a big company, you know what works, right? You get a paycheck. You have a 401k plan. Why? Because you know you're going to have sales next quarter. Small businesses are kind of their own little thing, right?
Yeah.
They're different. They're not a big company, and they're in between.
Yeah.
The challenge for most small businesses is they'll never have the chance to scale.
Yeah.
A startup, the worst thing that's happened with the startup is that it turns into a small business.
Yeah.
The best thing is it turns into an enterprise.
Yeah.
And that's why startups take the risks they take, and why they try to solve those big, audacious problems.
Yeah.
Is precisely they have a better view, or they think they have a better idea of how to solve a big problem than the big company does.
And that's what you're looking for in your employees. You're looking for people that want to have that bigger vision. They want to take, not nothing into something, but nothing into something huge.
Right. They have to be willing to fail.
Yeah.
What was the thing that really turned me off about working in national security is, first off, the number of acronyms. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
They slap an acronym, and you ask people, what does the acronym mean? They don't know, right? They're just, well, that's what we call it. And usually it has to do with how they get paid through some government program.
Sure.
There's no existential threat.
Yeah.
They're going to have their job tomorrow,
right, regardless
of what they do.
Yeah.
In a startup, there's nonstop existential threat.
Mm-hmm.
You are on the savannah and lions are coming for you.
Yeah.
Right? You will figure out how to build the spear quickly, or you will, as a company, die.
Yeah.
Right? So I really like that type of an adrenaline rush. Mm-hmm. I like that thing. And somebody once said that starting a company is like jumping out of an airplane, inventing the parachute, and chewing on glass as you're falling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of true in a way. I think that what we look for is people that have very strong skills in their respective domain.
Yeah.
Very much willing to try and fail and get up and try and fail and get up until they get success. Mm-hmm. And that process may take a while, right? And what they get as part of our team is one of the cornerstones of our culture is listening. When you join our team, we want you to come with ideas.
Okay.
You're going to listen to our ideas, and we're going to listen to your ideas, mm-hmm, and we're not going to agree. But at the end of the day, we're going to make a decision, and as a group, we're going to go down that path, and we're going to hold hands jumping off that cliff, and we're going to invent that parachute as we're going down.
Yeah.
And so far, that's worked pretty well for us. I'm very proud of the quality of people that we've recruited. We've not had trouble recruiting high caliber engineers, which a lot of companies in the Bay Area do. The secret of San Diego, what's great about it, is you get amazing talent at the engineering level that is very high retention. You don't have that turnover the way you do in the Bay Area.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this has been awesome. Thanks a lot for doing this. I'm super excited about it. I'll be following LeadCrunch very closely.
Sign up for a free trial. www.leadcrunch.com. I got to give you the plug, right?
Terrific.
Okay.
Thanks, Olin.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
This is Patrick Henry, the CEO of QuestFusion, with the Real Deal What Matters.